After more than 15 years and almost reaching to 200 episodes, Robot Chicken has definitely become an animated milestone on television, and I am here with one of the creators right now, Matthew Senreich. How are you doing, dude?
I'm doing all right, thank you. It's a weird time, but I'm somehow doing all right.
All right, that's great to hear. And my first question that I want to ask you, I'm sure you've already answered this many times in the past, but I would like to know, what are the origins of Robot Chicken? How did this all get started?
Oh gosh, it's a long-winded question, or answer that's going to happen. It really started by accident. If you go back to where we started, I was working at a company called Wizard Magazine at the time. Seth was a friend who lived in Los Angeles, and he was going to be going on the Conan O'Brien show to do some press for one of the things he was working on. And he didn't know exactly what to talk about, so he wanted to create something original. And he had just had an action figure come out from either Buffy or Austin Powers. And he knew that Conan O'Brien had this little doll from Barbie doll from Mattel. And he thought it would be a fun thing to do to have his action figure and Conan O'Brien's action figure go on an adventure together. And so he asked if I'd be interested in partnering with him to figure this out. And we went down that path. And in the process of putting together that little short that did air on Conan O'Brien, it spiraled into this weird show from, it started as a digital show back in like 2000. On this Sony Screen Blast back then, and then it turned into Robot Chicken a few years later.
Now, one thing that I always find to be very interesting with Robot Chicken is the fact that this is one of the very rare TV shows where its animation medium is completely stop motion. Now, I do understand the origins of it all, of how you started with it, but why did you guys decide to use stop motion as your go-to animation medium for Robot Chicken?
We never thought about anything else. I think where it really started from was these were supposed to be your action figures coming to life. It was playing with your toys. And the idea of those things coming to life, it seemed logical for them to be stop motion. Stop motion, when Robot Chicken started, there was Celebrity Deathmatch was probably the biggest thing that existed in stop motion before Robot Chicken came along. There's always Gumby and stuff like that. But it was fun getting into this community of stop motion talent that helped us build this world, which was fantastic.
Nice. And also, considering now it's been like years since you guys have been working on it, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges when it comes to maintaining and developing a stop motion animated series like this, especially for a variety show where you got to constantly keep making new sets and new puppets as well? What are some of the biggest challenges for Robot Chicken?
It's evolved over the years. Our first season, I can genuinely say we had no idea what we were doing. We were using the actual real toys themselves, which couldn't hold poses. So like their arm would go up and then just flop down. We didn't have any like wire armature to hold these characters in place. We started to learn what was needed with these action figures to be able to animate them the way they are. Like if you look at our first season, puppets kind of slid. Their legs weren't moving in any capacity. And every year we just learned more. Like even for stop motion, there was this program called Dragon Frame that we use as opposed to like this toggle box that we used in our first few seasons. It just is, the technology keeps upping. There weren't 3D printers. So the fact that we can just make all the hands in 3D printing now, or even some of the head sculpts in 3D printing, goes a long way. So every year we learn something new and we're able to take it that one step further.
Yeah, and considering that you do have recurring characters in the show, or that you would reuse a lot of pop culture characters as well, would you go and reuse them, or would you go and make new ones to make them more flexible and to make them a lot more easier to control and do whatever you want with them?
Case by case, I would say. There are some that we've had that we've just constantly reused, but eventually those things will break. And those puppets will break, the wire armature will snap off, or, it'll get destroyed because we splashed whatever material we needed to for the scene that they're in. So we try to keep re-upping the figures, but we definitely have like boxes and storage of like, you know, our GI Joe figures, or you know, our nerd figure, or our bitch pudding character, whatever it might be. We have a slew of these things put in amazing boxes that are, you know, filed away.
Oh boy, I can imagine one day those could be like an amazing collector's item. Like I'm sure there are some Robot Chicken fans that would be dying to at least own one figure that was used in the show. I don't know, like it's a potential idea, but I guess I'm just in the collector's mindset.
We've auctioned off a few for charity, which is always fun to see. You know, for myself, I mean, I've been doing this show for however long, and I only have one figure that I have for myself, and it's that Emperor from the Star Wars episodes that just sits behind my head. But everything else we know is going to be reused, so it's not anybody's material to say this is mine.
All right, that sounds good. Now I want to know regarding, I want you to at least look back at, like, regardless of the show itself or even your experience when making the show, what I want to know is, do you have a favorite moment when making Robot Chicken or any of the sketches themselves? Like, do you have any favorite characters or a favorite sketch that you have done, or a favorite memory when making any of the episodes? Like, I know it's like looking back throughout the 15 years you've been doing this, but do you have any significant memories you would like to share?
I mean, that's like choosing your favorite child in that way.
Man, you have been busy. You've made many children then.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick one. I mean, it is really that type of thing where you can remember, you know, staying up till 4 a.m. and having everybody on your staff yelling at you, saying you're not doing this right, from the first season to, you know, on the 6th season, having that moment where you do a sketch and you look at it and you say, this is horrible, I never want to do this, and then you watch it actually animated and it becomes one of your more favorite sketches in that way. It's all over the map. You know, even working on this season, working with some of our new writers, you know, just gets me excited that we're bringing them into the fold. I don't know. I can't pick anything.
That's fair enough.
Like, I still remember the day we got the call from Lucasfilm, or the day I met George Lucas in that way. You know, it's like those kinds of things. Or, you know, having dinner with Robert Kirkman and him just being like, why aren't we doing a Walking Dead special? Like, it's all over the map. All over the map.
Yeah, and speaking of the specials, like, that is something that Robot Chicken has done throughout the years, that sometimes you would actually do those specials that are specifically on one theme, where you would have several Star Wars specials, and then you would also have, like, the Walking Dead specials. How are working on those compared to doing some of the original episodes? Like, is there anything special that, like, you feel like they stand out in a way?
I think they do stand out. Again, it almost feels like the head of Adult Swim compared us to like Saturday Night Live at one point, and he's like, you're a sketch comedy show, and when we do these like specials of some sort, the longer format storylines, it's almost like taking characters from Saturday Night Live and turning them into those like longer feature type of situations, like a Wayne's World. It feels a little bit more like that for me. It's a passion project when you do those, because you're taking something that's really close to the heart and expanding it out into something much greater. I mean, the Star Wars specials are still surreal that set them all off. I never, ever expected to be able to do that. And the fact that George Lucas liked what we were doing and then, you know, agreed to partner with us to make these things blows my mind. The fact that we got to do this stuff with the DC characters was great, and working with Jeff Johns on those, it's the same thing where you establish a friendship.
So now we are pretty much at the point where Robot Chicken has now become one of the very rare animated shows, or just television shows in general, that have surpassed 200 episodes, and it's still going strong even after more than 15 years. I would like to know, how do you feel about the current status of Robot Chicken, that it is still going strong after all these years and reaching a major milestone of over 200 episodes?
it's a really weird feeling. Again, it still doesn't feel like work to me, which is a wonderful thing. I love that I get to tell people that I go to work to play with toys. Yeah, I'm more focused on the process of making it and goofing around with it than I realize that it's out into the marketplace and people are watching it. It makes me smile. It's surreal.
Nah, I definitely could tell. I guess you wouldn't imagine that after all these years, like 15 years after creating the show, you would still be doing the same thing.
No, it's very bizarre. Look, I feel old. The fact that this is still happening. But no, it's great. I really do love it.
Nice. Now, like considering that we have already covered the past and we've just covered the present of how you feel about it, what I would like to know is, well, maybe you can't really tell a whole lot about it, but I would like to know what is the future of Robot Chicken, or at least what you can be allowed to tell us about.
Sure. Robot Chicken is about parodying pop culture. The one thing that we always said, it was, for me when I was growing up, it was G.I. Joe and Thundercats and Transformers and stuff like that, that we would then mock. As we're getting older, the people who created this show were bringing in younger writers who are now, making fun and having fun with that pop culture and nostalgia that they grew up with. So it's, more about Avatar or DuckTales or, the Nicktoons of the 90s. And I like watching that evolution of our show because pop culture never ends. Nostalgia never ends. It just changes what the focus of it is. And in addition, we're a sketch comedy show. And so it's just about making fun of things that are relevant in today's society and just doing that through toy form. The head of Adult Swim once said, he looks at us as their Saturday Night Live. And I think it's a good analogy. It's just, again, instead of having actors, we have actors who play little toys.
Yeah, and it must be a massive compliment to be called like the Saturday Night Live of Adult Swim, considering the popularity of Saturday Night Live.
I'm not going to argue with him. When he said that, I smiled.
Yeah. Just a crazy question, however. There is something that's always been in my mind, and considering you've been on for so long with Robot Chicken, have you guys ever considered making a Robot Chicken movie, or is that currently in the works?
Considering our show is ADD TV, I don't know if a movie would sustain. If we did a movie, I think it would have to be more focused on a specific character, which would then kind of alter, what the nature of that Robot Chicken movie would be.
All right, so I only have one more question to ask you before we would go, but I would like to know, do you have any advice for any aspiring animators or aspiring show creators who want to one day wish to make the next Robot Chicken or to one day be among your ranks?
We're in a different day and age than when we started. I would say we have these lovely devices that we can make things on. And I think the best thing that people can do is make their own stuff. And again, in making your own things, you can try and fail and you can try and succeed. And I think the more you try, the more you learn. And by doing that, you can put yourself out there and people will capture, the stuff that pops. Look, when we're looking for Robot Chicken writers, I go online and I'll look at Twitter for funny comedians. I'll look at YouTube for people who've made their own stuff to see what makes me laugh. I think any of that type of material goes a long way. So make your own stuff. I think that's the smartest thing to do.
All right. So thank you so much, Matthew, for this interview. It really was a pleasure and an honor talking to you.
Right, Matt, and hopefully I'll see you at one of these conventions when the world's back to normal again.
Yes, one day, hopefully. And don't forget to go and check out Robot Chicken. Very soon, they're going to have their 200th episode. So congratulations, Matthew, on the milestone, and congratulations to the team on Robot Chicken.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.